Hello, my name is Gergana Deenichina. I am certified NeuroGraphica instructor and I work as life and business coach. Today I am going to present to you a NeuroGraphica model called Connect, created in the framework of our project LadyLeader. This model is linked to the training module Nonviolent Communication of the LadyLeader program. I recommend that you read the presentation on our website first, as there are many references to it in the model itself and in the drawing process. For this model, you need to choose or to recall a situation from last week or month in which you had an unsatisfactory communication with someone. We start by writing words for 2 minutes. After writing them down, take a good look at your words. What do you feel? You might consider if they are more adjectives, if they are more nouns, if they are more verbs, and what does that mean to you? I recommend you to write down everything you feel, think and sense during the drawing process. Now consider what are the main persons involved in this communication. They could be 2, 3, 4. How many people are involved? Let there be no more than 4. Draw them as circles somewhere on the sheet, where you feel them. We only draw circles. It turns out that I took a marker that does not write. That makes a difference to me in this particular situation. Observe yourself while you are drawing in your particular situation. What is happening and what is significant for you? In my case, I definitely have a lot of resistance to that interaction. In my case, there are 3 parties and I'm interested to see what that looks like on the paper. On the one side is me. And the other 2 people are very connected. Look at your shapes and feel them. And I also recommend you taking notes. First, analyze how big the shapes are relative to each other. Who is standing where? Do they intersect? And what does that mean to you in your particular case? Observe yourself all the time. What bodily sensations you have, what emotions arise, what thoughts. Now connect the shapes with several neural lines. They start at one end of the sheet and at the other end and run through the shapes, connecting them. Now feel and analyze how the shapes connected. What is happening within you, in your emotions and sensations? Now try to get out of the situation and go to the principles of nonviolent communication. Pick an observer somewhere off to the side, like here for me, and mark it with some sort of a figure. This is a sideline point of view. You are looking at the situation from above or from the side. Stand in that position. Try to come out of your personal experiences, your personal emotions, and stand in that meta position and just observe the situation. If you remember from the presentation, this is the first basic principle of nonviolent communication. To be able to look at the situation from the side, to observe without judging and without interpreting. Who, why, what, how. Just observe. We observe our participants and their interaction. And as you observe, you can begin to round where the lines cross. How do these people communicate? See them as a bystander who is not involved in that interaction. What impresses you? For example, what non-verbal cues, body language do they use? What do you notice as you observe them from the side? And how do these non-verbal cues affect the overall process of communication as it happens? And now, while you are watching from this meta position, we are going to include one of the main principles of NeuroGraphica. Observe what is passing through you right now, not as a participant in the particular interaction, but right now, in the moment here and now. What passes through you in terms of thoughts, emotions, bodily sensations, as you observe these people dispassionately from the side. It's not a very easy exercise to both observe from the side without getting involved and at the same time observe yourself as a bystander. Now we move on to the second principle of nonviolent communication. Focus on the feelings of each party. What is each party feeling during this interaction? Try to observe all participants impartially and draw circles for each participant. Somewhere, as you see and feel it as a bystander. What feelings came up in that moment? As you draw the feelings of each participant, observe yourself as a bystander, here and now. What is happening within you? And also think about how these feelings, these emotions have influenced this particular interaction. How have they affected the tone and the direction of the conversation? Also think about whether or not these people can connect on that level. Understanding their own emotions and the emotions of the other participant in the process. And if you feel it, draw more lines. If they can connect, connect them. How can they connect at this level? Give yourself some time to round and to reflect at this level. Record your observations and sensations if you can. And also notice in which part of the drawing you round and draw while we are at the feeling level, and what exactly you are thinking. For example, I notice that I draw mostly in the third section. Now take a very short pause. Drink water and we proceed to the needs. The third principle of nonviolent communication. What are the needs of all the participants in this interaction? And remember, you're looking not from the position of a participant, but from a meta position, from the position of a bystander. What needs of the specific participants have manifested or not been met during the interaction? And again, as with the feelings, draw these needs. See where they are, how they look like, how they relate to the big picture. Do you see anything new and different from what you saw then when the interaction happened? And again, round up. Feel if you can connect better at this level, at the level of needs being met. What is the need that stands behind that conversation? What is the need of each party? Step into each party's shoes from the position of an observer, unbiased. When we relate that to leadership, which is our main topic in the LadyLeader project, in modern leadership, it's no longer the principle, it's done this way because I say so. As you round, think about and feel what triggers and patterns you notice. What provoked this conversation or the unsatisfying direction of this conversation for you? And try, as you draw, to round or add lines, to identify these patterns in other similar occurrences. When else has this kind of situation happened to me? When have I felt this way? Usually, unconsciously, automatically, we behave in a similar way. When it gets a little heated, our learned patterns automatically pop out. In the next few minutes, as you round, try to figure out what provoked this reaction of yours, how the conversation unfolded, and what else does this remind you of? Give yourself a few more minutes to round and remember to breathe, drink water, and observe yourself. Now that you have identified some triggers and patterns that have led to difficulties in this particular interaction, consider how you can begin to recognize them earlier, before you reach difficulties. How you can work with those triggers and with your patterns. What would you like to change in order to create more harmonious relationships and more harmonious communication next time? And if you see some patterns in your personal communication style that have manifested in this particular situation, think about what you would like to change. Also think about how you state your needs. Do you know how to state them? In what way do you state them? Very often, unsatisfactory communication comes from the fact that we have not said what we actually want, and the other person has no way of knowing what we want. When working with conflicts, it is highly recommended to round everything to the end. Now we go to the next stage, coloring. While you are coloring, start thinking about the patterns again. Because at this stage we already integrate the different parts. And think about what new patterns you would like to integrate. And which principles of nonviolent communication you would like to and could integrate into your next communication with people. How would they have changed this particular incident if you had implemented them? What new behavioral models would you like to integrate and how would they help you? For example, before you answer, count to 3 or to 10. Master the impulse. Impulse control is one of a mature person's more important skills. And the good news is that it's a trainable skill. Not to react immediately. To learn to listen to the other side. To try to step into the other person's shoes. And as you continue to color, think about what insights you have. What have you learned from analyzing this situation through the lens of nonviolent communication? This particular exercise is built on the principles of nonviolent communication, And when we apply them to an everyday interaction with people, we can improve our personal satisfaction with specific interactions and conversations. When you change your way of communicating and begin to apply these and other principles, the other party begins to feel it. And if it's a long-term communication, for example, with colleagues, with friends, with relatives, with children, you can see how step by step things start to change. And that's why it's very important to be aware of triggers and patterns. When we pick them up on a conscious level, we start to notice them and our reactions are no longer automatically turned on. We try the first time, the second time, and the third time we'll start to sense in advance where the conversation is going to and say, I already know this way. It's not constructive for me and I know it will not lead to a good outcome. Stop. Now, based on the analysis of this situation, I suggest that you think of very specific actions that you could implement the very next time you interact with another person. What do you think would be different? And as you think about these new strategies, draw your field lines. Let's connect these new behaviors to the field lines. And let them literally become the backbone of your interaction, of your behavior. Draw as many field lines as you feel. Let those lines guide you. As a fixation, I suggest you to make the effective expression of your needs and feelings. However, if you feel you want to fix something else on the drawing, do so. As for me, I notice that it covers half of me and half of the party I was directly in conflict with. And the third person who was there, I feel like he actually understands me, but either doesn't dare or doesn't have a useful move to intervene. Most likely, in your case, everything is completely different. It's important to understand it and write down what is true for you. What is your new behavior that will be more harmonious and more satisfying for you? Because in every interaction we state some needs and we want them to be met. And if here we already come out from the meta position and enter in our own, we just want our desires to be satisfied. Which is the way to make this happen? While, of course, not hurting the feelings and rights of others. You might also consider how much empathy and compassion you have shown in this particular interaction. How much you have been able to put yourself in the other person's place. Thank you for being with me in this experience.